The contract sat on the mahogany desk between them like a wall. 6 months, Rowan said, his dark eyes scanning the document. After that, we go our separate ways. Kai nodded, trying to ignore how his heart beat faster when Rowan looked at him. 6 months. I get the money for my brother's surgery, and you get your inheritance. Simple. Rowan's grandfather had one absurd condition in his will. Rowan had to be married to claim his position as CEO of Blackwood Industries. Kai needed exactly $300,000 to save his younger brother Lucas from a rare heart condition. A marriage of convenience seemed like the perfect solution for both of them. Just so we're clear, Rowan added, his voice cold. This is business only. I don't do romance, and I especially don't do omegas. Kai flinched. Everyone knew about Rowan's hatred for omegas. Rumors said an omega had betrayed him years ago, though no one knew the details. As a beta, Kai figured he was safe from that particular prejudice. I'm a beta, Kai said, so that won't be a problem. Good. Rowan signed the contract with a swift motion. My driver will move your things to the East Wing tomorrow. We'll attend family dinner this Sunday to make it official. 3 days later, Kai stood in the massive Blackwood mansion, feeling completely out of place. His entire apartment could fit in the entrance hall. Rowan had barely spoken to him since the signing, communicating mostly through his assistant. But on Sunday, everything changed. The Blackwood family dinner was exactly as terrible as Kai had imagined. Rowan's aunt made snide comments about Kai's ordinary background. His uncle questioned whether a beta was really suitable for an alpha of Rowan's caliber. Through it all, Rowan sat silent, his face unreadable. Then Rowan's cousin Derek arrived late, drunk and loud. Well, well, Derek slurred, stumbling toward their table. Rowan finally got himself a little pet. Tell me, does he keep you in the East Wing because he's ashamed, or because you're just that boring? Kai felt his face burn with embarrassment. He started to stand, ready to leave, when Rowan's hand suddenly covered his. Sit down, Rowan said quietly to Kai. Then he turned to Derek, his voice dropping to something dangerous. Insult my husband again, and you'll regret it. The entire table went silent. Rowan's grandfather smiled for the first time that evening. Kai's heart raced. It was just for show, he told himself. Just part of the act. Oh, but Rowan didn't let go of his hand for the rest of dinner. That night, Kai couldn't sleep. He wandered to the kitchen at 2 a.m. and found Rowan already there, drinking whiskey in the dark. Can't sleep either? Kai asked. Rowan looked up, surprised. In the dim light, he looked younger, less guarded. I don't sleep much. Kai poured himself water and sat across from him. Thank you. For earlier, with Derek. He's an idiot, Rowan said. Someone needed to say it. They sat in comfortable silence for a moment. Why do you hate omegas so much? Kai asked before he could stop himself. Rowan's expression hardened immediately. That's none of your business. We're married, Kai pointed out. Even if it's fake, don't I deserve to know? Rowan stood abruptly. You deserve the money you were promised. Nothing more. Don't confuse this arrangement with something it's not. He left Kai sitting alone in the dark kitchen, and Kai felt a strange ache in his chest. It was just business, he reminded himself. Just 6 months. So why did Rowan's coldness hurt so much? Over the next 2 weeks, they fell into a routine. Rowan left for work before dawn. Kai spent his days visiting Lucas at the hospital, grateful the surgery was scheduled for next month. They'd see each other at dinner, exchange polite conversation, then retreat to their separate wings. But small things started to change. Rowan began asking about Lucas. He'd leave coffee made just the way Kai liked it. Once, Kai found a rare medical journal about Lucas's condition on the kitchen counter with a note. Thought this might help. Kai started leaving dinner in the warmer when Rowan worked late. He'd recommend movies when he noticed Rowan looked stressed. Small gestures, nothing romantic. Just kindness between two people sharing a house. Then, exactly 17 days into their marriage, Kai woke up feeling wrong. His skin burned like fire. His body ached in ways he'd never experienced. The room spun, and a strange sweet scent filled the air. No, Kai thought desperately. This can't be happening. But he knew what it was. He was presenting as an Omega. And from the sound of footsteps rushing down the hall, Rowan had already smelled it. Rowan burst through Kai's bedroom door, his eyes wild. "Get out!" Kai gasped, pulling the blankets up to his chin. The fever made his vision blur, and that strange sweet scent kept getting stronger. "Please, just go." But Rowan stood frozen in the doorway, his hands clenched into fists at his sides. His nostrils flared, and Kai could see the exact moment Rowan understood what was happening. "You're presenting," Rowan said, his voice rough as an Omega. "I didn't know," Kai said desperately. Tears streamed down his burning cheeks. "I swear, I didn't know this could happen. Late presentations are rare, but they happen sometimes when someone's under extreme stress, and with Lucas and the surgery and—" "Stop talking!" Rowan took a step back, his face pale. "I'm calling Dr. Chen. Don't leave this room." He slammed the door, and Kai heard the lock click from the outside, locked in, like a prisoner. The presentation lasted 3 agonizing days. Dr. Chen, a kind older beta woman, came and went with medications to ease the fever and pain. Rowan never entered the room again. His assistant Marcus brought food and water, always averting his eyes, always leaving quickly. On the 4th day, the fever finally broke. Kai sat up slowly, his body weak but his mind clear. He was an Omega now. Everything had changed. His scent would mark him forever. People would treat him differently, look at him differently. And Rowan, who hated Omegas more than anything, was legally bound to him for 6 more months. Kai laughed bitterly. The universe had a cruel sense of humor. A soft knock interrupted his thoughts. "Come in," Kai called. Marcus entered with fresh clothes and breakfast. "Mr. Blackwood requests your presence in his study at noon," he said formally, "if you're feeling well enough. Tell him I'll be there." At exactly noon, Kai knocked on Rowan's study door. His new Omega senses made everything overwhelming. He could smell the leather of the furniture, the coffee Rowan had drunk that morning, and underneath it all, Rowan's alpha scent, cedar and rain and something dark. "Enter," Rowan said. Kai stepped inside and closed the door. Rowan sat behind his desk, looking like he hadn't slept in days. Dark circles shadowed his eyes, and his usually perfect hair was messy, like he'd been running his hands through it. "Sit," Rowan said, not looking at him. Kai sat, his hands folded in his lap. "I've spoken with my lawyers," Rowan began, his voice carefully neutral. "Late presentation doesn't void our contract. However, I'm willing to renegotiate terms. I can pay you the full amount now, and we can dissolve the marriage immediately." "You'd be free to go." Kai's stomach dropped. "You want to end this?" "I think it's best," Rowan said, finally meeting his eyes. for both of us. Because I'm an Omega now. Rowan's jaw tightened. Yes. The honest answer hurt more than a lie would have. What about your inheritance? Kai asked. Don't you need to be married for 6 months? I'll find another way. There is no other way, Kai said firmly. Your grandfather's will is clear. No marriage, no CEO position. Derek becomes CEO instead, and you know he'll destroy everything your grandfather built. Rowan stood abruptly, turning to stare out the window. That's not your problem anymore. Maybe I want it to be. Rowan spun around. Why? I locked you in your room. I avoided you like you were diseased. I'm offering you an easy out with full payment. Why would you stay? Kai stood too, his Omega instincts screaming at him to submit to the Alpha's anger, but he pushed them down. Because Lucas's surgery is in 3 weeks. Because you kept your promise and paid the hospital even though I presented. Because despite everything, you've been kind to me, and I don't break my promises. You don't understand, Rowan said, his voice breaking slightly. I can't be near Omegas. I won't. Then we continue as before, Kai suggested. Separate wings, minimal contact. 4 more months and we both get what we need. Rowan studied him for a long moment. You'd really stay, knowing how I feel about Omegas? I'm not afraid of you, Kai said quietly. I'm just afraid of losing my brother. Something flickered in Rowan's eyes. Surprise, maybe, or respect. Fine, Rowan finally said. 4 more months, but you stay in the East Wing. We maintain distance. And if I ever make you uncomfortable, you tell me immediately. Agreed. They shook hands, formal and stiff, and Kai returned to his wing. But that night, lying in bed, Kai couldn't stop thinking about the look in Rowan's eyes when he'd first smelled Kai's Omega scent. It hadn't been just disgust. For a moment, just a brief moment, it had looked like longing. The next morning, Kai found a new lock on his bedroom door, one only he had the key to, and a note from Rowan. So you can feel safe. Maybe, Kai thought. There was more to Rowan's hatred than he understood. The weeks following Kai's presentation were strange and tense. Rowan kept his distance as promised, but Kai noticed small things. The Omega-safe snacks that appeared in the kitchen. The medical books about Omega health on the coffee table. The way Rowan would text him every evening at exactly 8 p.m. to ask if he needed anything. Never a phone call. Always texts, always formal, but always at 8 p.m. without fail. Lucas's surgery came and went successfully. Kai spent 3 days at the hospital, and when he returned exhausted at midnight, he found Rowan waiting in the living room. How is he? Rowan asked immediately. Good, Kai said, surprised. Really good. The doctors say he'll make a full recovery. Rowan's shoulders relaxed visibly. I'm glad. They stood there in the dim light, and Kai felt something shift between them. Thank you, Kai said softly. For everything. The surgery, the housing, the... Don't, Rowan interrupted. We had a deal. But his voice was gentle, not cold. Rowan, Kai started, then hesitated. Why do you really hate Omegas? Rowan's expression shuddered immediately. It's late. You should rest. He started to leave, but Kai caught his arm without thinking. The moment they touched, Rowan jerked back like he'd been burned. His eyes flashed gold, his alpha showing through, and Kai felt his Omega instincts respond, a soft whimper escaping before he could stop it. Don't touch me, Rowan said, his voice rough. Please. I'm sorry, Kai whispered, horrified at his own reaction. Rowan closed his eyes, taking deep breaths. When he opened them again, they were back to their normal dark brown. His name was Adrien, Rowan said suddenly. The Omega? We were engaged. Kai froze, hardly daring to breathe. I was 22. He was 20. Everyone said we were perfect together. Rowan's voice was hollow, distant. I loved him completely. Would have done anything for him. What happened? My grandfather happened. Rowan sat down heavily on the couch. He didn't approve of Adrien. Thought Omegas were too weak to be part of the Blackwood family. He offered Adrien $5 million to disappear. Kai's heart sank. And Adrien took it. Worse, Rowan said bitterly. He took it and sent me a video of himself with someone else, an alpha from a rival company. Told me he'd been using me the whole time, that he never loved me, that I was just a meal ticket until something better came along. Rowan. I was destroyed, Rowan continued. I believed him, hated him. Hated all Omegas for being manipulative and dishonest. He laughed without humor. I didn't find out the truth until 3 years later. What truth? My grandfather's assistant finally told me. The video was fake. Adrien had refused the money at first, so my grandfather threatened his family, his sick mother, his younger siblings. Adrien sacrificed everything to protect them, including me. Kai felt tears burning his eyes. Did you ever find him? Rowan's hands clenched. I tried. By the time I learned the truth, Adrien had disappeared completely. No trace, no records, nothing. For all I know, he's dead. I'm so sorry. So now you know, Rowan said, standing up. I don't hate Omegas because they're weak. I hate myself for not protecting the one Omega who mattered, for believing the worst of him, for being too proud and stupid to question what I saw. He walked to the stairs, then paused. You remind me of him sometimes, Rowan said quietly. The way you stand up for what you believe in, the way you protect your brother. It's why I can barely look at you. Then he was gone, and Kai sat alone in the dark, his heart breaking for both of them. The next day, everything changed again. Kai was in the garden when Marcus found him, his face pale. Mr. Kai, you need to come quickly. There's been an incident. Derek had shown up at Blackwood Industries with lawyers and a private investigator's report. He was claiming that Kai and Rowan's marriage was a fraud, that they lived in separate wings, barely spoke, and had clearly married only for money. If he could prove it, Rowan would lose everything. We need to prove the marriage is real, Marcus explained as they rushed to Rowan's office. Public displays of affection, shared living quarters, witnesses to your relationship. Rowan looked up when they entered, his face grim. I'm not dragging you into this further, he told Kai. I'll handle Derek. How? Kai demanded. He has evidence. Photos of us entering separate wings. Records showing we barely appear together. He's right. This marriage isn't real. Then I'll deal with the consequences. Or, Kai said slowly, we make it real. Rowan stared at him. What? Not actually real, Kai clarified quickly, but real enough to convince everyone else. We move into the same wing. We appear together publicly. We act like an actual married couple. Kai, you're an Omega. I just told you last night why I can't. I know what you told me, Kai interrupted. And I'm still offering. 4 months, Rowan. We can do this for 4 months, unless you'd rather let Derek win. Rowan looked torn, conflicted, and for a moment Kai thought he'd refuse. Then Rowan nodded slowly. Okay, but we set boundaries, clear rules, and the moment you're uncomfortable, I'll tell you, Kai promised. I'm not afraid of you, Rowan. I promise. What Kai didn't say was that he was starting to be afraid of something else entirely. He was afraid of how much he was beginning to care about the broken alpha who tried so hard to push everyone away. Moving into the master wing was surreal. The suite was enormous, with a bedroom larger than Kai's entire childhood home, a sitting area, 2 bathrooms, and a private balcony overlooking the gardens. Rowan had immediately claimed the bedroom's couch as his sleeping space, leaving Kai the massive bed. This is ridiculous, Kai protested. You can't sleep on a couch in your own bedroom. I've slept in worse places, Rowan said, arranging his pillows. Besides, this way, if anyone checks, we're clearly sharing a room. Their first public appearance as a real couple was a charity gala 2 nights later. Kai stood in front of the mirror, adjusting his tie for the 10th time. The suit Rowan had bought him probably cost more than Kai used to make in 6 months. He looked good, he had to admit, but he felt like a fraud. Ready? Rowan appeared in the doorway and Kai's breath caught. Rowan wore a black suit that fit him perfectly, his dark hair styled back, and he looked devastating. Their eyes met in the mirror, and something electric passed between them. You look good, Rowan said quietly. So do you. In the car, Rowan explained the plan. We'll arrive together. I'll keep my hand on your back or hold your hand. We'll dance at least twice. We need to look comfortable with each other, like we're actually in love. Right, Kai said. In love? Easy. Rowan glanced at him. If this is too much. It's not, Kai said firmly. I can do this. The gala was overwhelming. Cameras flashed as they entered. People stared and whispered. Kai felt his Omega instinct screaming at him to hide, but then Rowan's hand pressed against the small of his back, warm and steady. I've got you, Rowan murmured so only Kai could hear. Just breathe. They made it through cocktail hour successfully. Rowan introduced Kai to business partners, kept him close, laughed at his jokes. To everyone watching, they looked perfect together. But then Derek appeared, drunk and angry. Well, if it isn't the happy couple, Derek sneered. Tell me, Rowan, does your little Omega know about Adrien? Does he know you're just using him like... Rowan moved so fast Kai barely saw it. One moment Derek was talking. The next, Rowan had him pressed against the wall, his forearm across Derek's throat. Say his name again, Rowan growled, his alpha voice making everyone nearby flinch. I dare you. Rowan, Kai said urgently, touching his arm. People are watching. Don't give Derek what he wants. For a long moment, Rowan didn't move. Then slowly he released Derek and stepped back. You're right, Rowan said, looking at Kai with something like wonder. You're absolutely right. He took Kai's hand and led him to the dance floor, leaving Derek coughing against the wall. As they began to dance, Kai realized everyone was watching them. The music was slow, romantic, and Rowan pulled him close, one hand on Kai's waist, the other holding his hand gently. That was smart, Rowan said softly, stopping me. Derek was trying to provoke me. I know, Kai said. This close, he could smell Rowan's scent strongly, cedar and rain and that dark something that made Kai's Omega purr contentedly. Are you okay? I should be asking you that. Being here, with everyone staring, knowing you're an Omega. I'm fine, Kai said honestly, especially right now. Rowan's hand tightened slightly on his waist. Kai, I mean for the act. Kai added quickly, feeling his face heat. This is good for convincing people. Right, Rowan said, but his voice sounded strange. The act. They danced 2 more songs, and with each one, Kai found it harder to remember this was pretend. The way Rowan looked at him felt real. The way Rowan's thumb traced small circles on his waist felt intentional. The way Rowan's breath hitched when Kai accidentally pressed closer felt significant. But it couldn't be real. Rowan hated omegas. This was just business. The ride home was quiet. They sat on opposite sides of the car, the air between them thick with unspoken things. Back in their shared suite, Rowan headed straight for his couch bed while Kai changed in the bathroom. When Kai emerged in his pajamas, Rowan was staring at the ceiling, still fully dressed. "Thank you," Rowan said, "for tonight, for stopping me from doing something stupid. You would have done the same for me." "Would I?" Rowan sat up, looking at Kai with those intense dark eyes. "I'm not sure I'm as good a person as you think I am." Kai sat on the edge of the bed, facing him. "You paid for Lucas's surgery before I presented. You gave me a lock for my door. You dance with me even though touching an omega must be hard for you. You're better than you think. Or maybe you're just seeing what you want to see." "Why do you do that?" Kai asked, frustrated. "Why do you push away every kind thing anyone says about you?" "Because I don't deserve kindness." Rowan stood abruptly. "I failed Adrien. I couldn't protect him. And now I'm failing you too, making you pretend to love someone who can barely stand to be in the same room as an omega. You're in the same room as me right now," Kai pointed out. "That's different. Why?" Rowan opened his mouth and closed it. He looked lost, conflicted. "Because you're not just any omega," he finally said quietly. "You're Kai." The words hung in the air between them, heavy with meaning. Before Kai could respond, Rowan's phone buzzed. He checked it and swore. "What is it?" "Derek's posted photos from tonight on social media. He's claiming we looked rehearsed and fake. He's really not giving up." Kai made a decision. "Then we'll have to try harder," he said. "Tomorrow we're going on a date. A real one, in public, where we actually look happy together. No rehearsing. Just us. Kai. 4 months, Rowan." We agreed. "So let's make it count." Rowan studied him for a long moment, then nodded slowly. "Okay, a date. Just us." As Kai lay in bed that night, he couldn't stop replaying Rowan's words. "You're not just any omega. You're Kai." What did that mean? And why did Kai's heart race every time he thought about it? Rowan picked a small cafe across town for their date. Somewhere casual where they could actually talk without the pressure of Rowan's usual high society circles. Kai arrived first, nervous in a way he hadn't expected. This was still pretend, he reminded himself. Just better pretend. Then Rowan walked in wearing jeans and a simple sweater instead of his usual suit, and Kai's breath caught. He looked younger, more relaxed, almost like a different person. "Hi," Rowan said, sliding into the booth across from him. "Hi," Kai replied, suddenly shy. They ordered coffee and pastries, and for a few minutes just sat in comfortable silence. "I don't actually know much about you," Rowan said finally. "Beyond Lucas and your old job. What do you like? What makes you happy?" Kai blinked, surprised. I like reading. Old mystery novels, mostly. I like cooking, though I'm not very good at it. I like watching storms through windows. What about you?" "I like classical music," Rowan admitted, "and terrible action movies. I collect old maps. I can't cook at all. I once burned water." Kai laughed. "How do you burn water?" "I left it boiling and forgot about it. The pot melted." They talked for 2 hours, discovering small things about each other. Rowan hated mornings but loved late nights. Kai was afraid of heights but loved flying. They both preferred tea to coffee but had ordered coffee anyway because it felt more casual. It was easy, natural, and Kai kept forgetting they were supposed to be acting. "Can I ask you something?" Kai said as they walked through a nearby park afterward. "About Adrien." Rowan tensed but nodded. "Do you still love him?" Rowan was quiet for a long moment. "I don't know. I loved who I thought he was. But I never got to know the real Adrien, the one brave enough to sacrifice everything for his family. Maybe I fell in love with an idea, not a person. That's sad." "It is," Rowan agreed. "I wasted years hating all Omegas because of my own failure. I pushed everyone away. I became exactly what my grandfather wanted, cold, focused only on business alone. You're not alone now," Kai said softly. Rowan stopped walking and turned to face him. "Kai, I need to tell you something. This thing between us, this friendship or whatever it is, it's getting complicated for me." Kai's heart raced. "What do you mean?" "I mean, I'm starting to care about you in ways I didn't expect, in ways that go beyond our arrangement." Rowan's hands clenched at his sides. "And it terrifies me because I don't want to hurt you like I hurt Adrien. Even though I didn't mean to hurt him, I did. And I can't do that again." "You're not going to hurt me," Kai said. "You don't know that." "Neither do you." Kai stepped closer. "Rowan, I'm starting to care about you too. And yes, it's scary. But pushing each other away because we're afraid isn't the answer." "What is the answer?" "I don't know," Kai admitted. "But maybe we could figure it out together." Rowan reached out slowly, giving Kai time to move away, and gently tucked a strand of hair behind Kai's ear. His hand lingered against Kai's cheek, warm and careful. "You're so brave," Rowan whispered. "Braver than I'll ever be." "Then be brave with me." They stood there in the park, the world moving around them, both terrified and hopeful. Then Rowan's phone rang, shattering the moment. He answered it, his expression darkening immediately. "What? When?" "We'll be right there." "What happened?" Kai asked as Rowan grabbed his hand and started pulling him toward the car. "It's Lucas," Rowan said grimly. "There's been a complication with his surgery. The hospital called. He's asking for you." The drive to the hospital was a blur. Kai's hand shook, and Rowan kept one hand on his knee the entire time, steady and grounding. At the hospital, they learned Lucas had developed an infection at the surgery site. It wasn't life-threatening yet, but it could become serious if not treated immediately. Kai sat beside Lucas's bed, holding his little brother's hand while doctors explained the treatment plan. "I'm scared," Lucas whispered. He was only 14, still so young. "I know," Kai said, fighting tears, "but you're going to be okay. You're the strongest person I know." "Is your husband here?" Lucas asked. Kai glanced back at Rowan, who stood in the doorway looking uncertain. "Yeah," Kai said. "He's here." "Can he come in? I want to meet him properly." Rowan approached slowly and sat on Lucas's other side. "Hey, Lucas. I'm Rowan." "You're really tall," Lucas observed. "And you smell like trees. That's nice." Rowan smiled, a real, genuine smile that Kai had never seen before. "Thank you. You smell like antiseptic and grape juice." Lucas giggled weakly. "The grape juice is the only good thing here." He looked between them. "Are you guys actually married, or is it just for money? Because Kai told me it was business, but you guys look at each other weird." Lucas, Kai protested, his face burning. What? I'm sick, not stupid. Rowan laughed, and Kai felt his heart skip. You're definitely not stupid. And honestly, I'm not sure anymore. It started as business, but it's becoming something else. He looked at Kai as he said it, and Kai couldn't breathe. Good, Lucas said. Because Kai deserves someone who looks at him like you do, like he's important. He is important, Rowan said quietly, still looking at Kai. More than he knows. Lucas fell asleep an hour later, and Kai and Rowan moved to the waiting room. You didn't have to say that, Kai said, about us becoming something else. I wasn't lying, Rowan said, to Lucas or to you. Kai, these past few weeks, getting to know you, seeing how you care for your brother, how you stand up for what you believe in. You've changed something in me. I'm not saying I'm not still scared. I am. But I'm tired of letting fear control my life. What are you saying? Rowan took Kai's hands in his. I'm saying that when our 6 months end, I don't want you to leave. I'm saying I want to try this for real if you'll have me. I'm saying I think I'm falling in love with you, and it's terrifying and wonderful at the same time. Kai's eyes filled with tears. I'm falling for you too. I have been for weeks, maybe since that first night in the kitchen. I just didn't want to admit it, because I was afraid you'd push me away. No more pushing away, Rowan promised. No more walls. Just us figuring this out together. He leaned forward slowly, giving Kai every chance to pull back and press their foreheads together. Is this okay? Rowan whispered. Yes, Kai breathed. They stayed like that, holding each other in the hospital waiting room, or until the nurse came to tell them Lucas was stable and sleeping peacefully. As they drove home in the early morning light, Kai realized something had fundamentally shifted. This wasn't pretend anymore. This was real. 3 weeks later, Kai woke up to find Rowan already awake, watching him with soft eyes. Morning, Rowan murmured. Morning, Kai replied, smiling. They'd been taking things slow since the hospital. No kisses yet, just hand-holding shared meals, falling asleep talking on Rowan's couch until Kai convinced him to just share the bed. There's room for both of us, and your back is going to give out on that couch. Now they woke up facing each other, and every morning felt like a gift. I have meetings all day, Rowan said reluctantly, but tonight I was thinking we could actually cook dinner together. Or attempt to. It might end in disaster. I'd love that, Kai said. Rowan smiled and pressed a gentle kiss to Kai's forehead before getting up. Kai spent the day with Lucas, who was recovering well at home now. They played video games, and Lucas kept making knowing comments about how Kai smiled every time his phone buzzed with texts from Rowan. You're so gone for him, Lucas teased. Shut up, Kai said, but he couldn't stop smiling. At 5 p.m., Kai returned to the mansion to find Marcus waiting with a strange expression. Mr. Kai, there's someone here to see Mr. Blackwood. He's in the main sitting room. I think you should be there when they meet. Who is it? He says his name is Adrien. Kai's blood turned to ice. He found Rowan standing frozen in the sitting room doorway, staring at a young man with white blonde hair and delicate features sitting on the sofa. Adrien looked up, and Kai saw the same shock in his eyes that must be in Rowan's. Rowan, Adrien whispered. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. You're alive, Rowan said hoarsely. All these years, I thought I know. Adrien stood slowly. I know what you thought. Your grandfather made sure of it. But I had to disappear completely to protect my family. I had to make you believe I was gone. Kai felt like he was intruding on something deeply private, but he couldn't make himself leave. Why are you here now? Rowan asked, his voice carefully controlled. Because your grandfather is dead, Adrien said simply. Because the threat to my family is gone. Because I heard you got married, and I needed to see if it was real, or if you were still alone and hurting because of what I did. Adrien's eyes finally moved to Kai, and understanding dawned in them. You're the Omega, Adrien said. Rowan's husband. I can smell it on you. His scent everywhere. You're bonded. We're not bonded, Kai said quickly. We're just married, Rowan finished, moving to stand beside Kai. His hand found Kai's automatically. Kai is my husband. Something in Rowan's voice made it sound like a claim, a choice, a promise. Adrien studied them both, and slowly he smiled, sad but genuine. He's good for you, Adrien said. I can see it. You look happy, Rowan. Happier than I ever saw you. Adrien, Rowan started. No, let me finish. Adrien took a shaky breath. I came here to apologize, to explain, to tell you what really happened, but I can see I'm years too late. You've moved on. You found someone who makes you smile like that, and I'm genuinely happy for you. You sacrificed everything, Rowan said quietly, for your family. I know what my grandfather did. I know about the threats, the money, the fake video. I've known for years. You knew? Adrien looked stunned. I tried to find you, Rowan said. I searched everywhere. I wanted to apologize, to tell you I understood, to ask for another chance. But you disappeared completely. I had to, Adrien whispered. My mother needed expensive treatments. My siblings needed protection. Your grandfather's reach was long, Rowan. I couldn't risk coming back. They stood in silence, years of pain and misunderstanding hanging between them. I need to hear you say it, Rowan said finally. The video, the things you said. None of it was real. None of it, Adrien confirmed. I loved you, Rowan, completely. Leaving you was the hardest thing I ever did, but I would do it again to keep my family safe. Rowan closed his eyes and Kai squeezed his hand supportively. Thank you, Rowan said, for telling me, for being brave enough to come here. There's more, Adrien said hesitantly. Your cousin Derek. He knows I'm back in town. He's planning something. I don't know what exactly, but I heard him talking to some lawyers about proof that your marriage is fake, about using me as evidence that you can't actually love an Omega. Kai felt Rowan tense beside him. When? Rowan demanded. Tomorrow. He's calling a board meeting to present his case for removing you as CEO. Rowan swore quietly. I'll testify for you, Adrien offered. I'll tell the board everything, how your grandfather manipulated us both, how Derek is doing the same thing now. I'll make sure they know you're nothing like him. Why would you do that? Rowan asked. Because you deserve to be happy, Adrien said simply. And because despite everything, I still care about you. Just not in that way anymore. He glanced at Kai. I think I've found someone too, actually. Someone who makes me want to stop hiding. I'm glad, Rowan said and meant it. Adrien left soon after, promising to be at the board meeting tomorrow. Alone in the sitting room, Kai turned to Rowan. Are you okay? Kai asked. I don't know, Rowan admitted. Seeing him again after all these years is strange. I thought I'd feel more. Anger, love, something. But mostly I just feel sad for both of us, for all the time we lost to someone else's cruelty. Do you still love him? Rowan pulled Kai closer, his hands gentle on Kai's waist. No, he said firmly. I care about him. I'm glad he's safe and happy. But I don't love him. Not like... He stopped, swallowing hard. Not like what? Kai prompted softly. Not like I love you. Rowan finished. I love you, Kai. Not because you remind me of Adrien, or because you're convenient, or because of our arrangement. I love you because you're brave and kind, and you make me want to be better. I love you because you see the worst parts of me and stay anyway. I love you because when I think about the future, you're in it. Kai felt tears streaming down his face. I love you too. So much it scares me sometimes. We'll be scared together, Rowan said, echoing Kai's words from weeks ago. And then finally Rowan kissed him. It was gentle and perfect and tasted like hope. The Blackwood Industries boardroom was intimidating. All dark wood and leather chairs with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. Kai sat beside Rowan at the head of the long table, trying not to show his nervousness. Derek sat at the opposite end, looking smug. He'd brought his lawyers and a stack of documents. The board members filed in 12 stern faces that held Rowan's future in their hands. Let's begin, the chairman, Mr. Harrison, said. Derek, you called this emergency meeting. Explain. Derek stood, his smile sharp. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm here today because I have evidence that my cousin Rowan has been deceiving this board and dishonoring our grandfather's legacy. He gestured to his lawyers, who began distributing folders to each board member. As you can see, when I have proof that Rowan's marriage to Kai Chen is a complete fraud, photographs showing them entering separate wings of his home, financial records proving Kai was paid $300,000, exactly the amount needed for his brother's surgery at the time of their marriage. Witness testimony from household staff about their lack of physical intimacy. Kai felt his face burn, but Rowan squeezed his hand under the table. Furthermore, Derek continued, I have evidence that Rowan has a history of dysfunctional relationships with Omegas. His former fiancée, Adrien Winters, took money from our grandfather to leave Rowan. Now Rowan has essentially bought himself another Omega husband to fulfill the marriage requirement of grandfather's will. It's a pattern of using Omegas as transactions rather than partners. That's not true, Kai said, standing up before he could stop himself. You're twisting everything. Sit down, Omega, Derek sneered. The adults are talking. Kai is my husband and a part of this family, Rowan said coldly. You'll speak to him with respect, or I'll remove you from this room myself. See? Derek addressed the board. He's defensive because he knows I'm right. This marriage is a sham and Rowan should be removed as CEO immediately for fraud. Is that all? Mr. Harrison asked. Actually, no. Derek smiled triumphantly. I have one more witness. Someone who can testify to Rowan's inability to maintain a genuine relationship with an Omega. The door opened and Kai's heart sank, expecting Derek to have somehow coerced Adrien into lying. But it wasn't Adrien who walked in. It was Marcus, Rowan's assistant. Marcus? Rowan said, confused. What are you doing? Marcus looked uncomfortable but determined. I'm sorry, Mr. Blackwood, but I've been subpoenaed to testify truthfully about your marriage. Derek's smile widened. Marcus has worked for Rowan for 8 years. He's seen everything. Tell them, Marcus. tell them about the separate bedrooms, the business arrangement, the way Rowan could barely stand to be near Kai after he presented as an Omega. The board members leaned forward, interested. Marcus took a deep breath. It's true that the marriage started as a business arrangement. It's true that they initially lived in separate wings. It's true that Mr. Blackwood struggled with being near Kai after his presentation. Kai felt his heart sinking. This was it. They were going to lose. However, Marcus continued, what Derek isn't telling you is what happened after. I've watched Mr. Blackwood change over the past 5 months. I've seen him researching Omega Health at 3 a.m. I've seen him personally ensure Kai's brother received the best possible care long after the initial payment. I've seen him cancel important meetings to have coffee with Kai. I've watched them fall in love, genuinely and completely. Derek's face darkened. You're lying to protect your job. I don't need to lie, Marcus said calmly. Last week, Mr. Blackwood offered me a promotion and a raise to stay on as his assistant. I declined because I've accepted a position at Harrison Tech. I have nothing to gain from defending him except doing what's right. He turned to the board. Yes, their marriage started as an arrangement, but it became real. I've served this family for 8 years, and I've never seen Mr. Blackwood as happy, as focused, or as human as he's been since Kai entered his life. That's not fraud. That's love. The room fell silent. Then the door opened again, and Adrien walked in. I'm sorry I'm late, Adrien said. Traffic was terrible. Who are you? Mr. Harrison asked. Adrien Winters, Rowan's former fiancé, the one Derek mentioned. Adrien moved to stand near the board table. Derek asked me to testify against Rowan, to confirm his pattern of failed Omega relationships. I'm here to do the opposite. Adrien, you don't have to. Rowan started. Yes, I do. Adrien looked at the board members. 8 years ago, Rowan's grandfather paid me $5 million to leave Rowan. He threatened my family, forced me to create a fake video, and made sure Rowan believed I never loved him. It was a lie. I loved Rowan deeply, and leaving him nearly destroyed me. Why should we believe you now? Derek demanded. Because I have proof. Adrien pulled out a thick envelope. Letters from Rowan's grandfather's lawyers, bank records, emails detailing the threats against my family. I kept everything, just in case I ever got the chance to clear my name. And I'm giving it all to you now. He handed the envelope to Mr. Harrison. Rowan is nothing like his grandfather, Adrien continued. His grandfather manipulated people, bought loyalty, destroyed anyone who got in his way. Rowan builds relationships, earns respect, and genuinely cares about people. The fact that he's married to an Omega, despite everything his grandfather did to make him hate them, proves how much he's grown. Adrien looked at Kai and smiled. And Kai is good for him. I saw them together yesterday. Rowan looks at Kai the way I always hoped someone would look at me, with complete love and trust. That's not fraud, Mr. Chairman. That's the real thing. Mr. Harrison opened the envelope and spent several minutes reviewing the documents. The other board members waited in tense silence. Finally, Mr. Harrison looked up. Derek, these documents prove your grandfather engaged in systematic manipulation and fraud to control Rowan's personal life. Whether Rowan's marriage started as an arrangement is irrelevant. Many marriages in our social circles do. What matters is whether he's fulfilled the terms of the will, which require him to be married for 6 months. He has been legally and publicly. The fact that his marriage has evolved into something genuine is his personal business, not ours. But, Derek protested. Furthermore, Mr. Harrison continued sternly, your attempt to use falsified testimony and manipulate this board reflects the same corrupt practices your grandfather engaged in. I move that Derek Blackwood be removed from the board immediately for attempted fraud, and that Rowan Blackwood's position as CEO be confirmed permanently. Seconded, 3 board members said simultaneously. The vote was unanimous except for Derek's own vote against. Derek stood, his face purple with rage. This isn't over, Rowan. I'll find another way to destroy you. No, Rowan said calmly. You won't. Because I'm done letting people like you and grandfather control my life through fear. I'm done being ashamed of who I love. You have no power here anymore, Derek. Leave. Security escorted a screaming Derek from the building. In the aftermath, Kai stood shaking, adrenaline making his hands tremble. They'd won. It was really over. Thank you, Rowan said to Adrien and Marcus. Both of you. I can't express. You don't have to, Adrien said. Just be happy. That's thanks enough. Marcus nodded in agreement. After the others left, Kai and Rowan stood alone in the empty boardroom. We did it, Kai said. You did it, Rowan corrected. Standing up to Derek, being brave enough to stay by my side through all of this. Kai, you're incredible. So are you. Rowan pulled him close, resting his forehead against Kai's. Marry me, Rowan whispered. Kai laughed. We're already married. No, I mean really marry me. Not for an inheritance or a contract. Marry me because we love each other. Marry me because I want to spend the rest of my life with you. Marry me because you're my home, Kai. Kai kissed him, long and deep and perfect. Yes, he said when they finally broke apart. Always yes. 6 months after the board meeting, Kai stood in front of the mirror again, adjusting his tie. But this time was different. This time, Rowan came up behind him and fixed the tie gently, his hands sure and loving. Nervous? Rowan asked. A little, Kai admitted. It's our actual wedding day. Kind of surreal after everything. They decided to have a real ceremony with their friends and family, small and intimate. Nothing like the cold courthouse wedding they'd had the first time. Lucas knocked on the door. Kai, you ready? Everyone's waiting. Yeah, Kai said, squeezing Rowan's hand. I'm ready. The ceremony took place in the mansion's garden, under an arch covered in white roses. Lucas stood as Kai's best man. Adrien, who had become a surprising friend, stood with Rowan's small group of supporters. As they exchanged new vows, or real ones this time, Kai felt tears streaming down his face. I promise to love you through every fear, Rowan said, to choose you every day, to build a life with you that's based on trust and honesty, not contracts or arrangements. You saved me, Kai. Let me spend the rest of my life showing you how grateful I am. I promise to stand by you, Kai replied, to remind you how good you are when you forget, to be brave with you when we're scared. You didn't save me, Rowan. We saved each other. When they kissed, their friends cheered and Kai felt like his heart might burst with happiness. At the reception, Lucas gave an embarrassing speech about how he'd known they were in love before they did. Adrien made a toast about second chances. Even Marcus, who'd come as a guest, shared a story about the first time he'd seen Rowan smile because of Kai. Late in the evening, Kai and Rowan slipped away to their favorite spot, the balcony overlooking the gardens where they'd had so many quiet conversations. Happy? Rowan asked, wrapping his arms around Kai from behind. "So happy," Kai said, "though I still can't believe we're here. 6 months ago, I was desperate and alone, and you were cold and closed off. Look at us now." "I was thinking about that," Rowan said, "about how my grandfather meant for that marriage clause to trap me, force me into something I didn't want. But instead, it brought me you. It gave me everything I never knew I needed." "Do you think he'd be upset?" Kai asked. "That we're actually happy?" "Probably," Rowan said, "but I don't care. I spent too many years living for his approval, his vision of what I should be. I'm done with that. Now I just want to live for us." "Us," Kai repeated, loving the sound of it. "I like that." Below them, the party continued. Lucas was dancing with one of Rowan's younger cousins. Adrien was laughing with some guests. The future felt bright and open and full of possibility. "I have something for you," Rowan said suddenly. He pulled a small box from his pocket. "We already have rings," Kai pointed out. "I know, but this is different." Rowan opened the box to reveal 2 matching pendants, simple silver circles on delicate chains. "I had them made. They're bonding pendants. Not the traditional kind that requires a bite or heat, but a symbol, a choice to bond ourselves to each other emotionally, permanently." Kai's breath caught. "Rowan, you don't have to wear it," Rowan said quickly. "I know bonding is a big step, and we've only been truly together for 6 months. I just wanted you to know that I'm ready whenever you are. No pressure, no timeline." Kai kissed him, cutting off his nervous rambling. "Put it on me," Kai said. "I want to wear it. I want everyone to know I'm bonded to you in every way that matters." With shaking hands, Rowan fastened the pendant around Kai's neck. Then Kai did the same for Rowan. They stood on the balcony holding each other, both wearing symbols of their commitment. "I love you," Rowan whispered. "My Omega, my husband, my home." "I love you too," Kai replied. "My Alpha, my partner, my everything." 3 years later, Kai stood in the same garden where they'd gotten married, watching Lucas graduate from high school. The kid was healthy, strong, and had been accepted to his dream university. Rowan stood beside him, their hands intertwined as always. "He's gotten so tall," Rowan observed. "Wasn't he tiny just yesterday?" "That was 8 years ago," Kai laughed. "You're getting old." "We're getting old together," Rowan corrected. "There's a difference." After the ceremony, they returned home to find Adrien waiting with his partner, a kind beta named Sam who worked in environmental law. "Surprise," Adrien said. "We wanted to celebrate Lucas with you guys." They spent the evening on the terrace sharing food and stories and laughter. At one point, Kai looked around at their little found family and felt overwhelming gratitude. He'd come to this mansion 5 years ago, desperate and alone, agreeing to marry a man who hated Omegas. He'd been terrified, uncertain, just trying to save his brother. And instead, he'd found everything: love, family, home, purpose. "What are you thinking about?" Rowan asked softly, noticing Kai's expression. "Just how lucky I am," Kai said. "How lucky we both are." "The luckiest," Rowan agreed, pressing a kiss to Kai's temple. As the sun set over their garden, painting everything in shades of gold and pink, Kai leaned into Rowan's embrace and thought about the future. There would be challenges ahead. There always were. But they'd face them together, the way they'd faced everything else. Because they weren't just 2 people who'd married for convenience anymore. They were partners. lovers, best friends. They were home. And that was the greatest love story of all.